Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life. And now that the news is official on the official announcement of T-Fiber, I have a few more thoughts that I wanted to put in this video. And I wanted your guys' thoughts too in the comments on this matter. So T-Mobile is now going to start penetrating these markets of Lumos and then in the future MetroNet on a wholesale base, right? It's not owned and operated by T-Mobile, right? I wanted to clarify that. This is only a 50% partnership, but T-Mobile is the lead brand, right? Everything turns over to T-Fiber, the trucks, the employees, everything is T-Fiber, the plans, everything is T-Fiber. So the first thought that I had right off the bat, right, as it's 500,000 households, or a little more than 500,000 households, that they're going to start competing in right away, and that will increase each year as we move forward. And then they want to get to 12 to 50 million homes passed by 2030. And they're going to achieve that with Lumos and then the pending MetroNet deal once that closes. Still not closed, but once that closes, then they start the work to get to 12 to 15 million homes passed with fiber. Now, some of my thoughts on that. It is very likely that in those markets where T-Mobile is now going to be converging, right, with this fiber, that they already have significant market share on wireless. That's very, very possible. I haven't looked into it, but I'm looking at it from a viewpoint. Florida, future Metro, it was a past Metro PCS, now T-Mobile, now Sprint, so they likely already have high market share, wireless market share in the markets where they're converging with fiber. So now they have convergence offers, which you guys saw, and they are right here, that if you add it with voice line, you get it cheaper. So now they're going to continue to grow the wireless share by default because the convergence works. AT&T is showing us the percentage. Verizon has shown us percentages that they're expecting to double. So I know it's going to work for T-Mobile, regardless of what they talk about, trying to downplay it publicly. The convergence works. It's going to work for T-Mobile. So they're going to grow wireless share. So now the talking point that I have in this video, which we've talked about, a while ago, but higher Capex, they're going to have to up the capital investment. The 9 to 10 billion has worked for them. What they've achieved with the 9 to 10 billion, if we really break it down, is nothing short of amazing. Right? When you got competitors spending 20 billion, 21, 22 billion, 17, 18 billion, and you can achieve what you're achieving with 9 to 10 billion, that's really something different and unlike ever seen before. But now you're stepping into a whole different arena, right? You already are growing wireless share without fiber convergence. Now you are adding 12 to 15 million homes by 2030 that you can sell into convergence. So now in those markets, you're going to grow your wireless share. It's working for Verizon. It's working for AT&T. It will work for T-Mobile. So I fully expect, even though T-Mobile has guided Capex through like 2028 to remain at 9 to 10, I don't see how that can be the case. I think they need to up it to 11, 12 billion around that mark. I think that's where they're comfortable until they start owning and operating fiber. When they start building and owning and operating, then they have to go to 16, 17, 18 billion because they have to carve out a chunk to invest on that fiber investment, right? But for now, they're only 50% partners, right? AT&T is starting to do that a bit bigger as well with BlackRock and some of the other partnerships that they have. So T-Mobile is not doing anything special in that regard, but they will, right? I will say this, they will have to up Capex. That is my opinion. That is not a fact. Today, T-Mobile is still at 9 to 10, but I fully anticipate in a couple of quarters, maybe we get another, sort of capital markets day update. They're going to have to go up, and they can easily justify it now, right? All the moving parts that they have, they're successfully growing. they can justify 11 to 12 billion, right? Is it going to cut into some of the free cash flow? Maybe, but they just recently raised price significantly. They brought back taxes and fees, right? So, and they're still saying 60% take rate on the higher premium plan. So it's right. It'll kind of be a wash, in my opinion. That 1 to 2 billion that they might have to take out of the free cash flow and put into the Capex to up it, they're going to get that back from the price increases and the new growth that they're getting. So, and then fiber, right? That fiber play is going to make some money too. That's going to be an additional revenue driver as well. And then FWA is successful, so they have plenty of ways to tell the street that they're going to up the Capex. At this point, it shouldn't be a surprise to anyone when that does become reality. It needs to happen, right? They're going to penetrate. They're going to further penetrate into markets with convergence where they already have high market share. I mean, that's even though that same FWA customer may now be offloaded onto fiber in those markets. T-Mobile's not going to leave money on the table. So they're going to look, okay, now this tower has more capacity because I've moved all these people onto T-Fiber. So now, do I have homes maybe a bit further away from the site that don't have fiber? Maybe we can sell them FWA, right? So they're not going to just leave money on the table. So you have to further invest into the wireless network, regardless of how this turns out. They're growing. They're still growing, right? They just reported numbers for Q1. Q2's coming. They're growing. Now they got fiber that's going to lead to more wireless growth on top of wireless already growing at a very healthy clip, right? AT&T is using the convergence to jumpstart their wireless growth, right? Every quarter, there's about 100,000 customers estimated that are joining wireless just off of the fiber convergence. T-Mobile has been growing wireless at a much bigger clip than the competition without any of that convergence. So now just look back at T-Mobile's quarters and maybe add another 50 to 100,000 customers that they'll get from just the fiber convergence, right? So just some thoughts of mine. The Capex will need to go up. Some of you have said that before they got into fiber or anything else, that Capex needed to go up. 9 to 10 billion specifically for wireless is still a high amount, right? They're not really splitting that cost with any other business segments. They don't run wireline. So I think 11 to 12 billion is going to do a lot for T-Mobile. And that's still mainly pure wireless because they're not owning and operating any of the fiber. And the investments that they're making into Lumos and Metronet, they've already happened. That's already included in a different budget that that these companies will use to further penetrate those markets that they're in. So 11 to 12 billion, I think, is a good number for T-Mobile to continue to build out at large scale the wireless network and further densify. And if they leave it at 9 to 10 billion, I mean, I guess that's fine too, but they have to really, really, really prioritize at that point. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.